So I wasn't originally going to record this video today. I was honestly just going to focus on getting everything ready for the Capcom stream, which I didn't actually, get ready ahead of time like I did for all the others, which I will be streaming tonight. If you guys want to check the description, that way you can set your reminder, unless you're watching this during it, and you could just go all the way over there. But what I really want to talk about is the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters that we had announced at Square Enix's E3 presentation yesterday, as of the recording of this video. So basically, if you didn't see the Square Enix Presents, which most of it was just some new Guardians of the Galaxy game, which actually did good, that actually looked pretty good, but we didn't need 20 minutes of it, but that's not what this video is about. I think the Pixel remaster of the Final Fantasy series is ridiculous. Now, I'm going to tell you why it's ridiculous. This is probably going to be a short video, just doing this off the dome, because I honestly am pretty frustrated with Square right now, and I just want to get this off my chest. I think it's fantastic that they're re-releasing Final Fantasies 1 through 6. Those games need to be more accessible, and I absolutely am so happy that they're being re-released, especially because they're being re-released in, 16-bit kind of style. That absolutely is beautiful. They're being re-released in the basically supposed to be the definitive versions of themselves, except not really. Mainly because, honestly, I don't think a lot of these sprites that they released over there on their Twitter actually look better than their originals in some aspect, or even some of their other re-releases that just didn't end up showing up, especially like, say, Final Fantasy IV on PSP. I don't think these new ones look necessarily better than the PSP version, in my personal opinion. However, I know those things can kind of be, subjective, so I'm not really going to go based off the looks. The looks isn't something I really have a problem with, because basically anything is better than Final Fantasy V and VI mobile and PC versions. Those are actually horrible. It looks like somebody smeared Vaseline all over the characters. It looks that bad. But my biggest thing that I really dislike is that Square is only re-releasing these games on Steam and mobile. The two platforms that already have the most Final Fantasy content on them. Because on PC, you could practically play every Final Fantasy game except for 1 and 2. It's being released on there. So finally, you'll be able to play Final Fantasy 1 and 2 on PC without emulation, which is great. That's absolutely fantastic. I'm really glad that they'll be there. That's, I'm okay with that. But on mobile, you can literally play practically all of the original titles on there. But you could practically play anything from 1 to 9 on phones. You can't really play anything else. If anything, they should be trying to rework some of those PS2 games and PS3 games for mobile if they really wanted to go and make Final Fantasy more accessible on mobile. It's not like they can't do it. They rework, Dragon Quest 7 and 8, which were 3D games also, and made them work for mobile. So it doesn't really make too much sense why they didn't do that with Final Fantasy. I'm sure they can put Final Fantasy 10 on there. It works. I don't think it looks that much crazier than, some of the other ones. I think they can easily end up getting that working, especially because I don't think Final Fantasy X looks that much better than, say, Dragon Quest 8. They don't look that much better. They release on the same platform. They can get it working. But again, why are these new Final Fantasy remakes or re-releases, I should say, why is this re-release not being released on Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox? It doesn't make any sense. There are brand new Final Fantasy fans on PlayStation having been able to play things like Final Fantasy X. They can go play Final Fantasy 12. They can play 14, 15, even Final Fantasy 9, 7, 8. They can play these games all on PlayStation. It's so good, and this made a lot of fans. Personally, I was able to play Final Fantasy 7 for the first time on Switch. I'm a newer Final Fantasy fan, but the fact that I can't play 1 through 6 on these consoles, my preferred place for RPGs and stuff, it's ridiculous. It doesn't make any kind of sense. And say the Switch, again, like I said, the Switch, you'll be able to take these timeless adventures with you on the go. Yeah, I could also take them on the go on my phone, but at the same time, I don't want to be getting interrupted by, my Final Fantasy journey just because I'm getting a call from somebody. That's just ridiculous. Nobody wants to play, me personally, I'll say that. Especially, actually, I can say, a lot of people seemingly from the response to this, it's a big missed opportunity to now force people, if they want to go on these Final Fantasy adventures, they have to risk being interrupted constantly and all this stuff, especially because Square is already weird enough with some of these mobile titles and stuff like that. Sometimes you need to be connected to Wi-Fi to even play the games, I guess, to some way to make sure you're playing it legitimately or whatever reason. Kind of defeats the purpose for being able to take my phone with me. What if I'm on a long car ride ride and I want to play Final Fantasy VII on my phone. Well, I can't do that because I'm not connected to Wi-Fi in my car. At least my car, it doesn't have Wi-Fi in it. So that's just kind of ridiculous. The fact that you finally, especially after Square has risked re-releasing these games on all these newer platforms and seeing how well they've done, you'd think they would take advantage of this. That's more avenues of money. That's what makes it so backwards. Square Enix is a company that I love dearly. Obviously, I have hundreds of videos up talking about some of their best games, you know, some of the best moments from them. No one can look at this channel and tell me I'm not a fan of Square Enix. But the thing is, it makes me so frustrated as a fan when they do like 10 steps forward and then do like 8 steps back. Obviously, I'm only saying 8 because they still are re-releasing games. I'm a person who has a PC and a relatively powerful phone, so I can still get these remaster and I will happily take them, but at the same time, I'm saddened by all the people who won't be able to play this. Some people don't have smartphones, some people who don't, want to play on their smartphones, some people who don't have PCs. It's not like these consoles can't run it, and it's not like these consoles don't already have, ancient titles on them anyway. There are re-releases of PS1 games or even older, SNES and other kinds of ones, PS1 type games, all on the PlayStation and PC, and and even Switch. So it just doesn't make any sense that they would only do it on mobile and PC. I know I've been talking for like 6-7 minutes, but again, I'm just so frustrated. Like, I know, I have ties with Square Enix. I don't want people to think that obviously, oh, well, you get stuff for free from Square all the time, or, you in Square Enix pocket anyway. I don't know why you're complaining. Bro, I'm a fan of Square Enix long before this channel had anything to do with Square. Square hasn't paid me a dime to say anything on this channel. Nothing. And I am not the kind of creator that will not say certain things because I don't want to jeopardize a relationship. I was willing to buy Square games, long before they were willing to give me anything for free. So just because they happen to, care about my opinion on certain things, or care for a partnership, that doesn't mean I'm not going to call them out on stuff that I find stupid. I genuinely do. And this isn't saying to do any hate towards the PR people. Obviously, the people behind the Twitter account is not the person who made this decision. So if you're upset about this just as much as I am, don't go on social media and go hate on, the people there. Please do not do that. If you do that, you're just ignorant. I know you might want to vent your frustrations, but there are a way easier way to do that. Review sites and things like that, where users can actually submit their reviews of certain games. Look at Steam, look at mobile. Both the avenues in which this game is coming out, you can go and submit something, or you can go on Square's website and submit feedback, all those kinds of things. Those are avenues that they have employees to consistently check. So they can obviously do that. If you want to get, be upset, you can also send an email or some sort. Don't hate on these people, these PR people. They have nothing to do with these kinds of decisions. And I know because obviously a lot of these PR people have been really going through it these last couple days. They always do during this kind of time period. So as dumb as a decision it was, please don't take it out on them. I think this is really stupid, but honestly, as much as I'm saying this, I know I'm still going to get it anyway because I do still want to play Final Fantasy VI that I haven't played. I don't really like how Final Fantasy V and 6 look on PC and mobile right now. So if I want to play through those games fully all the way to the end, I would like to do it that way. This is the first time Final Fantasy III has been released over here, period, in its 2D form. So this is a big thing for Final Fantasy III. Even if these games to you don't look as good as they should or as good as the original, I'm glad they're being re-released at all in a 2D fashion, because not everybody is a fan of the 3D games and stuff. Like Final Fantasy IV's 3D version is a lot harder than its original, so maybe some people don't prefer that version, and they'll be happy to actually be able to play the 2D version of the game in a newer re-release, which is great. But again, I'm really hoping, because they didn't announce a release date for this, maybe they'll be able to actually, maybe they'll be able to add, console support. There is enough outcry to this that Square Enix already has to know within the first 24 hours that this was a bad decision. So hopefully they do this. I don't know if anybody from Square is watching this. please, please, please see what someone can do. I'm not hating on you. I'm just really, really hoping that they do different with this decision. Even if it's not immediately, I don't necessarily need this delayed, but I hope at some point it will come to consoles, as that would be really good. Even if they make them only a few bucks each, you know, release individually, I'd be okay with. But other than that, I'm going to stop venting my frustration on you guys. I appreciate any of you guys who did watch all the way through to the end. Are you guys frustrated with this? Are you okay with this? Do you care at all? Let me know down in the comments below. I will be live later for the Capcom presentation, and I will be live tomorrow for the Breath of the Wild. That's what I'm expecting. I will be live for the Nintendo E3 at 11:30 in the morning. Down below, you can catch the link to both live streams if you want to just check the description and click one. That way you can either set the reminder or just come join us depending on when you're actually watching. But thank you guys so much for watching. My name is KingdomAce, and remember, my warriors of courage, to stay strong, stay beautiful, and always look skyward.